Good morning, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. Welcome to Special Report, brought to you by KC Securities. I'm here today with Alex Parr. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, Chris. 8 o'clock comes fast.
Yes, it does. And 1 o'clock's also going to come fast today as well. Okay, so Ford's making another news conference today, as he does every day.
Is this when I act surprised? I go, oh, Doug Ford has a press conference?
That excellent surprise face.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I've been working on it.
That was good. So yesterday it was about the trucking industry, so it wasn't COVID-19 related, even though when it went to question period, almost all the questions were about COVID-19.
Yeah.
But yesterday they came out with the investigations into the problems they're having with tow trucks, in particular in Toronto. I mean, there's been people killed, they're torching them. I mean, it's a real battle down there with organized crime.
Right.
Today should probably be a little bit lighter of an announcement. It's Jeff York, the Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks, and Lisa MacLeod, who's the Minister of Heritage and Sports and Culture. So I'm guessing today's announcement will be slightly lighter and a little not as heavy as topic as organized crime blowing each other's tow trucks up.
If you had to guess, my guess would probably be the opening of more recreational centers and more parks opening, just slowly but steady, giving people something to do.
Well, they might also give some guidance with regards to like what is going to happen with sports. You know, are we going to have any recreational sports this summer? Like baseball's come out, for example, with all of their restrictions. You know, you can't like even chew sunflower seeds.
No, chewing gum you can.
Gum.
A lot of pitchers you'll know in the MLB, they'll lick their fingers and pitch. Can't do that, but you can have a sopping wet rag in your back pocket to get your fingers damp.
Yeah, so like the rules are just. I mean, baseball, plus the stadiums are going to be empty.
Yeah, and then each player will have their own individual cube in the dugout. Not actually, but that's what it's seeming like is going to happen at some point.
And all the ones that aren't playing are going to actually be sitting in the stands.
Masks? I know the NBA, you have to wear a mask if you're in the stands.
I'm assuming that they're going to be using whatever the requirements are.
I hope so.
I mean, if it's an indoor place like the Sky Dome, for example.
Very true.
Yeah. And the quarantine thing, they haven't decided on that either.
Yeah, the only thing is with that is I don't necessarily know if I want the Blue Jays hosting teams from the States, where all of these teams are congregating in Florida now to do their training, to keep together and try to stay as safe as possible. But I don't need to tell you guys what Florida is dealing with right now. It's a scary time, and honestly, I don't know if I'm a big fan of the Blue Jays playing their games at home just because of that.
Yeah, and then Blue Jays had to cancel their training at Dunedin because they had a COVID-19 outbreak with both players and staff.
Yeah, now I believe the league is undergoing testing for everybody, just like the NHL and NBA has done. Their numbers just came out not too long ago. I want sports. I miss sports. Please, but with the safety in mind of everybody.
Yeah, sports is definitely going to look different for at least the end of 2020 and into 2021.
And ongoing too. Society is going to make huge changes, and I'm curious as to see how that translates into sports.
Yeah, even speaking about huge changes, we got WestJet and Air Canada. When I saw this, I wasn't sure it was even a real story.
Right, just because of how
crazy this sounds.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Air Canada and WestJet are eliminating social distancing for domestic flights starting July 1st, so tomorrow. Basically, the reason they're doing this is because money, that's probably the primary reason, but the International Air Transport Association's guidance, which is the organization that basically decides how to travel safely in the air, what requirements you need. In other words, like if one country has an airline, it has to meet a minimum standard of another country.
Gotcha.
So that when you get on a plane, you don't feel like, oh, when I'm on a plane from X country, it's not as safe as a plane on Y country.
Right, okay.
So they make the rules on this, and they put out last Friday some guidance basically saying that you don't need to social distance on an airplane, and here's why. It's similar to the church with that magic filter that Trump went to.
Oh, perfect. I wonder when they're going to release that to the masses.
Yeah, well, I think airlines might be using it now. It's called a HEPA filter, which, by the way, is in most homes and buildings. And it cleans the recirculated air, and airflow in cabins flows from the ceiling to the floor. And so you don't need a barrier beside you because the air just drops straight down. Does that make sense to you? Oh, and then you've got seat backs in front, so when the air comes down, it won't like come and hit you from the person in front of you or behind you.
You know what I'm thinking? Vacation time.
Oh yeah. I mean, it makes, I'm not fully understanding.
So we have to sit this far apart to do a TV show,
Yeah.
but I can cough on the guy if he's sitting on a plane next to me.
In recirculated air for hours.
Oh, perfect. I'll just,
Yeah.
so it goes straight up into the air, recirculates,
Yeah.
gets nice and clean quickly.
I mean, think about it. It's like taking a shower and the water comes down and hits you. Does it come straight around your body or does it spray out?
Yeah, my body is very aerodynamic. I'm very fast, so it doesn't touch me.
Well, what about your quarantine 15 you're telling me about?
Quarantine 15, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Apparently that's a thing now.
Yeah.
Instead of the freshman's 15,
I was
there's a
trying
quarantine
to.
15.
I was trying my best at peak male performance. Like I saw Chris on the show. I'm like, I gotta get a body like that. So
Yes,
I was working,
exactly.
but it did not work. It did not work.
No, you failed.
Chris,
Yeah. Keep trying.
Chris, I've got a little picture of you in the corner of my mirror. So when I wake up in the morning, I go, that's my goal. I got to work towards that.
Alrighty. What do we got for some local news here?
Some local news. Actually,
Yes.
we were talking yesterday about the fatal motor vehicle collision with the bicycler, the cyclist.
Cyclist?
I don't know why
Yes.
I said bicycler.
Bike
but
rider, cyclist.
We'll work on that. We'll work on that, getting that in the dictionary. So right now, they need the public's assistance. The Sioux Police, they don't know who it was. It must have been a hit and run. The person has since passed away, and it took place in the 1000 block of People's Road. For anybody that around that area, maybe you didn't see it happen, but I know a lot of people have those doorknobs that have the video recorders in them, and they have been very helpful solving cases all over. I mean, any society that has that kind of technology. So if you are around that area and you think maybe you've got something, check your tapes at home just to see what you got, because the police need your assistance right now. This is a brutal story to even have to say.
Yeah, actually, speaking of cameras, Toronto Police had the City Council
nice
in
segue.
Toronto met yesterday. I'm so glad I don't cover Toronto City Council. Their meeting yesterday started at 9:30 in the morning, ended at 7:30 at night. And on top of that, they weren't finished. They're restarting the City Council meeting. However, they did vote to not cut the police budget. There has been calls to defund the police and so on. We don't even really know what that would look like here in Canada because it's never happened before. But they have put through some reforms, and one of them actually is body cams.
Yes, and I think we were talking before the show about it's pretty much a no-brainer to us, somebody that would feel safer knowing that whatever happened, you can clearly see in that tape, regardless of who's in the wrong. And I feel like that's got to be something implemented across every police sanction there is.
And it works both ways. It protects the people from the police doing something illegally that they're not allowed to do, or being too rough or whatever. But it also works the other direction as well. When you go to court, like eyewitness testimony is the worst testimony to have, because people things change in their
after
mind.
2 months of time before maybe they go to trial. It's going to be a stressful situation. So how your memory works on that's going to change a little bit. Yeah, body cams. Just do it. I'll feel safer. You'll feel safer.
Yeah, it'll make prosecutions even easier, because you'll be able to see, like, this is what happened, and you can show the video to the jury and let the jury decide based on what's in the video. Of course, the lawyers will both try and spin in different directions.
Of course.
But that's every trial that's out there. So this just makes it easier. You eliminate the questionable eyewitness testimony, and you put in video of, at least you'll get part of what was going on. Right. So you get an idea of what actually happened during a certain crime, or was it not a crime? All right, let's talk some weather. Good morning, Daniel. How are you today?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Alex. I'm doing well. How about you guys?
We are doing well.
Hey, just a quick note too. You're talking about body cams there. You know, when I'm not doing the weather and I'm patrolling, doing security, I have a body cam because I believe in that too. It protects me, right?
Yep.
Anyways, we're going to look at a live view. This is a live view of downtown Sault Ste. Marie. This live view is sponsored by wirelesscom.ca. You can check out their website for all the services they have to offer. And as you can see, there's not much clouds. It's pretty calm out. There's a cyclist just went by there down on the bottom. It's going to be very hot and sunny. High of 31 today, but I'm going to come back with your full weather forecast right after the break. So stay tuned for more special report.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And we're going to head to a commercial break. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. See you then.
Recently, the Government of Ontario established a $100 million affordability fund to help Ontarians who don't qualify for low-income conservation programs ease the burden of their electricity bill. Whether you rent or own your home, as long as you pay your electric bill, you could qualify. There are 3 levels of support available. The first is a home energy kit with upgrades like smart power bars and LED light bulbs. The second includes Energy Star appliances that help keep things cool during the hot summer months. The third is for electrically heated homes so that your power bills don't break the bank during those long Canadian winters. Plus, all upgrades, including installation, are completely free of charge. Visit affordabilityfund.org or call 1-855-494-FUND to find out if you qualify.
And welcome back to Special Report. We're going to go over to Daniel for the weather.
All right, good morning. Thank you again, Chris. So I've got a great day in store for everybody here. I hope you like sun and heat because it's going to be hot. We are going to get up to a high of 32, and that's without the Humidex. So factor in the Humidex, you're probably looking at 34, 35. Beautiful day if you're going to the beach, if you have a pool, maybe you want to go for a walk in Bellevue Park, go for an ice cream, make sure you eat it fast because it's going to melt. But it is going to be a scorcher today. So we're going to get into your 3-day here, and then we'll get into your long range after that. So tonight we're going to get down to a low of 17. It's going to be clear again. There's not going to be much humidity, but it's going to cool down a little bit. Then on Wednesday, we're going to have a high of 32, and it's going to be, again, there's going to be that Humidex factor, about 3-4 degrees. It's not quite to that 40 degree mark, where if we see 30 degrees temperature, 40 Humidex, we're going to get a heat warning issue. Alex mentioned that in the newscast yesterday, so just keep in mind that we may see a heat warning at some point this week. Thursday, high of 30 degrees Celsius, again, mainly sunny, not too bad, and a low of 16. Again, staying clear, not much activity going on those days. High pressure is intact for these next few days. So we'll get into the long range here. Friday, it's going to be a high of 27 Celsius, and again, mainly sunny all day. Going to be some humidity factored in, and it's going to be a low of 15 degrees overnight. Saturday, it kind of clouds over a little bit, 30 degrees. Again, humidity is going to be a factor. Low of 17 overnight on Saturday. Now Sunday is where things might change here. We're going to have a chance of a shower. Right now it's not a major chance, about 10%, and it might be only a few millimeters, so don't worry about that right now. It may change, but it is going to be a high of 30 and Humidex of 38 that day. So that is going to be a very warm and muggy day. I know that's the kind of weather that Colette and Chris rave about all the time, so they're going to love that if that sticks around. Going to get down to a low of 17, and then Monday, mainly sunny, high of 29, low of 18, and then Tuesday, again, chance of a shower, 30 degrees, and a low of 19 Celsius. So we're looking at a very, very hot week again. I mean, it's changed a little bit, so we may see some precipitation, but it is going to be very good. Canada Day is, of course, tomorrow, so if you're traveling, travel safe, and if you are going to the beaches, make sure you social distance. There's a lot of beautiful beaches, Haviland, Harmony. I know Chris was at the Voyageur Lodge on the weekend, and I believe had an apple fritter. Yeah. Was that right, Chris?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's I tell my girlfriend I'm going to the beach, but I'm like, nah, let's go for an apple fritter instead. But I am going to the beach tomorrow, so hopefully the weather will hold and it'll be nice, and I'll have a good day at the beach. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to be at St. Joe's Island tomorrow too, so I'm looking forward to it. Get to do some kayaking, so it'll be great.
Awesome. Alrighty, well, time for our Facebook shoutouts. I'd like to say hi to Juliana, Ineki, and Amanda. Thank you very much for watching. We're also going to be talking about Colette now. As many of you have known, over the last, started on Thursday, we have been raising money for Colette, my co-host. She was burned at home and is presently in the hospital. And she has expenses over and above her normal expenses. And so we're doing a GoFundMe. Right now we're just shy of $7,000. So if you can donate any money to that, it's greatly appreciated. I will pop the link into the Facebook live feed for those of you watching on Facebook. To get the link, you can go to the Sioux Online Facebook page and you can click through from there to the GoFundMe page. So I very much appreciate everyone who has donated money so far. And if you can help out in any way, thank you very much. Alrighty, what do you got for local?
Yeah, so anybody on the outskirts of Sault Ste. Marie, when you mentioned in the morning, good morning, Sault Ste. Marie and Algoma. This is for the Algoma region. Now, if you're in the Searchmont, Hayden, and Goulet River to Batchewana Bay area, they are now introducing, through the Sault Ste. Marie Social Services Administration Board, a paramedic response unit. Now, this is going to be able to give you a paramedic, a professional, somebody on the scene that can stabilize you, make sure everything's okay until you are able to get transported. Now, this is going to cut down times for people getting the help that they need immensely. These guys are going to be working 7 days a week with 12-hour days. And honestly, this is great to see. I mean, I can't imagine what it would be like trying to wait half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour plus just to seek some medical attention. And depending on how urgent it is, you might not have that time. It's great to see. And yeah, get the people the help that they need, especially a little bit further out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be right back after the break.
Even though we can't always meet in person, we can still listen.
Even though schools are closed, help is still available in your community.
Even though you may be worried, services and supports are still here.
In stressful times like these, families need mental health supports more than ever.
We are here to make sure you can stay connected to your community and culture.
Nous savons qu'il peut être difficile de rester à la maison, mais vous n'êtes pas seul.
And we know asking for help for yourself and others can be hard.
But there are people in your community who are ready to support you.
No matter your age, gender, sexual identity, race, or culture.
No matter the day, time, or issue.
We're here to help.
And welcome back to Special Report, brought to you by KC Securities. I'm here with my guest host today, Alex Parr, and myself, and we're going to say hi to Chantel. Thank you very much for saying good morning to us and the On TV staff in our Facebook Live chat. If you want to interact with us live during the show, you can only through Facebook Live. That's the one chat that we're able to see through the whole show. All the other ones we don't see until afterwards. So if you have any birthdays, anniversaries, or if you have a question about a story that we're doing, just let us know, and we can try and answer those questions for you on the air. Okay, so we got new numbers yesterday. These are the numbers for Sunday. We'll have Monday's numbers for you later today, but we had 257 new cases. However, that number is not as bad as it sounds. They're testing all the farms down in the Windsor area, Leamington, Kingsville, that area. And most new cases came from migrant farm workers because there's outbreaks on a few farms. There was actually only 80 new cases across the rest of Ontario yesterday that wasn't on those farms. And there had been some resistance. And the Ontario government stepped in and basically said, we're testing everyone down there. Because there was just locally, the farmers were not being very cooperative, and now they are. So anyways, the number is up to 257, but it's not as bad as it sounds because it's an isolated area. These are not cases spread across the whole province.
Right.
And then there's another outbreak at a nail salon in Kingston that 25 people tested positive already who went to that nail salon just over the last few days as well. So there is 2 outbreaks, but they're very isolated. These are not things going on across the province. And as a matter of fact, we don't have one positive case that we know of in all of the Algoma district right now. They continue to hit their daily target of tests. There were over 27,000 tests, which is way over the 22,000 they want to hit. And there were some more people who passed away from the virus. And we will have the updated numbers for Monday later on at our 1 o'clock show as well.
And if you're in the upper UP, especially the Chippewa County,
they have new cases.
New cases. One in a 61-year-old and another as a 70-year-old. They started developing symptoms around 1 week ago, and they've been self-isolating since, got tested, and they are positive. But they are stressing, be safe. If you go out, be safe. Take those extra measures. Put the mask on. Do whatever you need to do to feel safe, because it's looking like the longer we go, the higher north it goes. So to our American friends, just a hop, skip, and a jump away. We're caring for you. Be careful. They also recommend that if you have any more questions, you can go to michigan.gov/coronavirus, and you may even be able to see the exact places where some of these cases had. I saw a list earlier today, so you'll be able to get the full details there. But once again, stay safe, guys.
Yeah, and there's more cases in Michigan than there is in all of Canada. Like Detroit to Lansing is actually one of the hot spots in America. Lansing is where the Michigan State University is, the Spartans, for those of you who know. And it's just, they can only control it so much. And once you start getting that community spread, this is what happens. And this is why, you don't open too early, like we've seen in Texas and Florida and California and other states, where they're seeing this massive spike in cases because they opened too early. And we didn't here, and that's why we're seeing, for example, outside of those farms, we only saw 80 new cases across the whole province. So that's the difference between following scientific advice and just trying to restart your economy for the sake of restarting the economy and ignoring the health advice. We've seen over 2.5 million Americans have now contracted the virus, and over 125,000 have now died. And that is, those numbers are unfathomable.
Yeah, I believe we just hit 10 million cases worldwide. I believe it was yesterday.
Yeah, that means a quarter of all the cases are in America. So, but we will be back right after the break, so hold tight, and we'll see you in a minute.
What's life without making a few mistakes down the road, a few sharp turns, and doing things for what we adore but might regret later? A trip to Chuck's Roadhouse isn't one of them. With melt-in-your-mouth AAA steaks, buttery lobster tail, half-priced apps after 9 p.m., an ice-cold draft with all your Roadhouse favorites. Chuck's Roadhouse. Food the way it ought to be, priced the way it used to.
message from the Government of Canada.
In your home, lighting is just as important as style.
With PowerView Motorization from Hunter Douglas, you can schedule your shades to light up the room. Create privacy, or both, automatically. No hands required.
So your shades will always be in the right place, at the right time, in style. And it's only from Hunter Douglas.
And welcome back to Special Report. I'm Chris Oldcorn here with Alex Parr, and we were just earlier talking about defunding police in Toronto, and where that came from was the Black Lives Matter movement.
Right.
And now the NBA wants to do something as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a no-brainer, and I think the league definitely saw this coming. But the players on both the NBA and WNBA side of things have openly said if the league is to return to play, we need to do something about social injustice. And I mean, we've seen this across a multitude of sports. You've seen it in football. I've even seen it in the WWE. Now it's bringing over to basketball. I've seen it in soccer now. So the players are saying that if they are going to go, we need some representation there. And I believe the league is also looking into maybe instead of player names on the back of jerseys, rather a statement. Maybe that's a BLM on the back of the jersey or whatever it may be. The league is looking into how they can maybe do that and represent a little bit more on the backside of the jerseys.
And then there was Bubba Wallace with the nooses.
Yep.
That was in his garage. Now it turned out that noose had been there prior to him being given that garage bay at that race in NASCAR. But there has been nooses now being found like all over North America. There was 2 found in Toronto just the other day at 2 different construction sites. One near Regent Park for the Toronto, it was in Regent Park area. Another one was downtown on Bay Street in the financial district. And it's just like, this does not have a place. They are being investigated as a hate crime. Now we're going to go over to Daniel for just an update on today's weather.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so here's a live view once more of downtown Sault Ste. Marie. It's brought to you by wirelesscom.ca. Just going to quick recap. We're going to get up to a high of 32 today with humidex of about 34, so it's going to be very hot and sunny. UV index 9. Make sure you have your sunscreen, and a low of 17 tonight. Quick note, send your photos or videos into ontvweather@gmail, and I will be back on Monday. I'm going to be off for a few days, so make sure to tune in then, and I'm going to send it back over to Chris.
Thank you very much, Daniel. And make sure to check out On TV and Sue Online all day for the latest news. You can also see my show tonight at 7 p.m., The Chris Oldcorn Show, and we will be back at 1 o'clock for Special Report. And I hope to see you then. We will also be talking a little bit more today about Doug Ford at his press conference and what happens there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And we'll be right back. Have a good morning.